Here we go. Let's Speak Geek.
You're listening to the Geek Speak Radio
On the Geek Speak Radio Show.
And we're here. Welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show, episode number, what is this, 2.2, I think. Yeah. So, packed show, let's get right to it. Big thing happened. Big thing going on, actually, in both the DC and Marvel universes. Mm-hmm. One, I asked you guys on our Facebook page, give me some comments on what you think about, first of all, the DC's New 52, which is basically a reboot of the entire line. Universe. And the other that really affected me, and I've been talking about it since last year.
And me too.
The death of Spider-Man, Peter Parker. I don't like it. Never liked it. And it has nothing to do with the fact that Miles Morales is half black, half Hispanic. That's right away where everybody is taking it. My thing is, I don't like it because it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is Peter Parker, nobody else. Just like Superman has always been Clark Kent. Now, yes, I know. Spider-Man, there have been the Ben Reilly clone, and also Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. And yes, I know, Nightwing, and we're really nerding out, not geeking out here about comic books. But the point is, I'm coming not from, it's not a knee-jerk reaction to, oh, it's a black Spider-Man, I don't like it. I don't care about that. What I don't like is the fact that Miles Morales is coming into the world where Peter Parker inhabited, which has the Daily Bugle there. J. Jonah Jameson is there.
Everything was set up for him to have success being Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I know, I know, the Ultimate Universe, it's a parallel universe. It kind of feels like Fringe now. Yeah. But it's a parallel universe, so anything can happen. You know, like we have Walternate. By the way, it's back, but we have Walternate, all that stuff. Same, you can kind of say there's really a lot more than just the Ultimate Universes. I mean, the original is 616, everybody knows that. Yeah. And Peter Parker is still alive and well there, sort of, what's going on with Spider Island. Yes, I do keep up with Amazing.
That's pretty cool.
But
I like that one.
Yeah, but as for this, I don't like it. Now, Marvel, they kind of set their own trap, if you want to see it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Miles Morales, we got a sneak preview of him last month in Ultimate Fallout number 4. That was when we first saw him. You held it in your hands right there. I went out and bought it. And by the way, I have bought Ultimate Fallout and Ultimate Spider-Man number 1. I did buy him and go and read him, so I'm not just, like I said, knee-jerk reacting, oh, I hate Spider-Man. I gave it a chance.
Are you going to give it a chance? Still buying the next one?
Well, we'll see as the show goes on.
All right.
I'm going to let you all know. But again, I don't like the idea of just killing Peter Parker just to introduce Miles Morales. I really don't like the reason why they did it. Axel Alonso, he is the new editor-in-chief, which basically means he's Stan Lee. He took Joe Quesada's old place. Joe Quesada, we were going to talk to him. He probably would have talked about comics, but he talks more about the movies now. Yeah. Because Joe is now the chief creative officer, which means he's behind such gems as Captain America, the First Avenger. You may have seen it. And if you haven't, it's coming in October. Press release just came out yesterday. Thor is out in stores now. If you haven't, go get that one. And a little movie next year called The Avengers. He deals with all those now. Joe Quesada, that is. Axel deals with the Marvel Comics universe. Universes, I should say, because it means the regular and the Ultimates and everything else that comes with it. Last month, when Ultimate Fallout number 4 came out, Axel was on a New York morning show, Good Morning New York, I think it's called, on CBS, and he was obviously talked about that because this has made the news everywhere. USA Today, I'm sure you all read it, had articles on it. CNN had an article on it. You probably saw it in your local news. Everyone who's never even picked up a comic book in 30, 40 years, all of a sudden
knew it was a big thing.
And this tells you everything. This is how big it is. It's like when Superman died a few years ago.
I remember when Batman died.
When Captain America was killed after the Civil Wars. Those were all, because they're icons for us.
Yeah.
So this is what Axel said. He was on again on the morning show, and he was asked. Well, you hear the guy here. I cut that out, but this is proof that the host has never picked up or knows anything about Marvel, because that's Axel Alonso he's talking to. The whole interview, he keeps calling him Alex.
That's hilarious.
His name is Axel, not Alex. So here's what Axel has to say. And that's pretty much where Marvel is standing on.
Well, we were concocting a story in Ultimate Comics, which is a line of comics which is a parallel universe to the Marvel universe, that involved the death of Spider-Man. And the obvious question was, when you have an iconic figure of this importance die, who do you replace him with? And, we've got a president right now of mixed ethnicity, so we figured, why not the most recognizable superhero in the world?
Has it been received? Because you're going to have those purists out there that I'm sure a little bit shock and awe, but what has the response been?
Well, our fans are passionate, so of course, we heard from the naysayers right away, but the response has been overwhelmingly positive. I got an email this morning from a Wall Street banker who said, he can't wait to bring this home to his son, who's 3 and is already raiding his comic book stash.
Yeah, when will people actually be able to see it?
Today, Ultimate Comics 4 is on stands today, and you'll get your first glimpse of Miles Morales. He's half African-American, half Hispanic, young kid from Brooklyn, and he's a nerd like Peter Parker.
So how is he different, though? I mean, what's going to be the real big difference between the two? For everybody who's used to Peter Parker, how is Miles now different?
Well, one significant difference is that Miles' parents are still alive. And, in fact, they will play a major role in the story, so you'll meet him. Peter Parker never had that luxury. But apart from that, there's a lot of similarities. Spider-Man works best when he's a conflicted kid, a kid looking to fit in, a kid who's always aspiring, always looking to achieve, and never quite getting exactly what he needs.
And this is an idea you've had for a long time. This wasn't something that just came up when you got the job. You've been sitting on this for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, Quite frankly, the first discussion I remember that was very concrete was when it was right before Obama was elected, and we started to realize that we might very well be looking at the first African-American president.
Yeah. You were just at Comic-Con not too long ago, right?
Yes, I was.
And I guess Andrew Garfield from The Social Network is actually playing Spider-Man on the big screen.
Yes.
So who was able to garner more attention? Your new Spider-Man or Garfield as a new Spider-Man?
Well, it's a toss-up, I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Black Spider-Man in cinemas sometime down the road.
Were you disappointed that that the big screen didn't go that route as well?
Well, we're in different time tracks, so we're in publishing. We move so quickly. We turn on the dime. The plans for the movie were well underway, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. We tend to be quite influential.
Yeah, you might be onto something here. But the feedback from the fans has been positive.
Oh yeah, it's been great. I'm very, very excited to see. And again, you can get your first glimpse of Spider-Man today.
Great, superb. Alex, thanks so much. Good to see you.
So that was, again, on New York morning show, TV morning show, Good Morning New York on CBS. So that Brian Michael Bendis has kind of been saying the same thing in interviews, online interviews, print interviews, radio interviews, because like I said, all of them have been everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they are not approaching it from, hey, it's a new character, that's it. And that right there is my issue. Because right away, the people who just knee-jerk react, react. Nowadays, see, when there were some changes when I used to read the comic book 20, 25, 26 years ago, there were some changes, but obviously we didn't have internet or any of that stuff. Now we have YouTube.
Smartphones.
Yes, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we text each other, all that stuff. And because of that,
a lot of people are just mad because it's a color thing. And you know what? It's not even about that. It's more about the story. Like, I think why everyone got along with Peter Parker and could relate is because the backstory was everyone had sympathy and they can sympathize with him. Like, they can relate. You know what I mean? I bet you related, Henry, when you first read it.
Hey, hello, I've always said it's been my favorite.
Yeah, and I mean,
see, let me go a little further.
Go back. Let's go back in time.
No, let me go back to right next to you, as a matter of fact, right behind you, our producer and guest booker, Damien. Damien, last I checked, you're black, right?
Yes, I am.
See, let me ask you this also, like you always say. Let me ask you this: what are they really saying? Not just Marvel, but anyone who uses that disguises their intentions with, well, it's to reflect the diversity in our world.
To be PC about things.
But what does that really mean? What are you really trying to say?
I don't know. I guess they're just trying to go for another demographic, I guess.
I mean, to be more specific, what makes you so... What does Peter Parker do? I know he's not real, but what does Peter Parker do that Damien, Romo, and Henry, and everybody listening doesn't do?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Something that let me chime in on this. Something that you had mentioned earlier, Romo, was that if they would have had Miles Morales and Peter Parker in two different universes,
or two different cities,
that would have actually been cool. Because it's like, okay,
I should work for Marvel. I should work for Marvel. I mean,
again, on YouTube, I also found another video, like I was saying, And I picked this one not because he agrees with me, but because out of all those that we heard, and that's just a little sample of all the ones that are out there, it goes from, it's everywhere, like I said. We got the same thing on emails, the dumb, just plain dumb ones, the
redneck ones.
The ones from fans, real fans, the ones that kind of like from the guy that was interviewing Axel Alonso and kept calling him Alex.
Yeah.
From those kind of people that just don't know how to react. His name is NeoGameSpark. You guys have probably heard him or seen his videos on the YouTube channel. You can hear a little bit more because he's on the line with us. Don't go anywhere. You'll hear from him and us and more Miles Morales.
The Geek Speak Radio Show. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out!
Everybody, go ahead, sing along. You know the words. Follow the bouncing ball. We don't have one. It's not on our budget. Welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. We're having a lively conversation on, two things. We're going to talk about the DC's New 52, but we only got about one email regarding it, which I guess is not good news for DC because they really want to know about it. But programming note, we're going to continue the rest of the hour. We're going to talk to somebody else who's a real comic book geek. I mean, knows it just about as well as the artists, the writers. You'll hear from him in just a few minutes. The next hour, we'll take it professional. No, we're not going to talk to DC or Marvel. We could have done that. I figured we've heard the company lines. I played it earlier from Axel Alonso. It's pretty much all the stuff
all PR stuff that they're all trying to get across.
Yeah, it's all the stuff that you're going to hear. Really you can read, you can hear anywhere. We are going to continue our conversation amongst us. I'm almost afraid to ask for them because I know what I'm going to get. But if you guys want to comment, go right ahead. Send emails. You can do that too. Henry@geekspeakradioshow.com or Romo@geekspeakradioshow.com. Now I did it. Your email is going to be inundated with everything.
Well, it already was.
Yeah, we got a little sample of it. I also give you a little sample of something that was, and I picked this not just because he agrees with us, but because he actually makes sense and he's intelligently giving his comment and not argument, but just his thoughts on Miles Morales and the introduction to Miles Morales' character. Many of you know him as NeoGameSpark. He goes by Chris also, but we'll introduce him right now as NeoGameSpark. Neo, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. So, like I said, I wanted to talk to you not only because you agree with my point on why Miles Morales isn't a good idea, but, well, I'm not going to speak for you. Go ahead and you tell everybody what you think about the Miles Morales character.
So first off, I'd just like to say glad to be on the show. This is a big honor. And basically the whole situation as it revolves around Miles Morales, well, for me, the opinion started out like so. I didn't think that the idea of having a black Spider-Man was such a big problem because if anyone reads comic books, there are some cases of, changing the race when they start a new universe, just so they want to have a fresh start. They don't want to remain stale. And if it were just under those terms, I'd be perfectly fine with it. But it's just the fact that how much of a, for lack of a better word, cluster this is going to affect to the main Ultimate series, because I was under the impression this would start out as a whole different line altogether. Like, how they have separate lines for comic books, but this is coinciding with the current Ultimate Universe, and that's really my main problem with the Miles Morales character.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've been a Spider-Man reader, Marvel reader, but a Spider-Man reader specifically since I go back about 28 or so years. Back then, there was no Ultimate Universe, but there were 3 separate titles. There was Web of, there was The Spectacular, and The Amazing, which is still around today in what's considered the 616 universe, I guess now. But even then, some of the stories crossed over. They crossed over with the other comics, obviously. They crossed over with each other. And I agree with you. When I first heard about it, I've been talking to all of you listeners know, since last year I've been talking about this, since it's been hinted at and all this year. My problem with it, like Chris, is not, it's a black Spider-Man. I don't really care about that. I had no problem when Samuel L. Jackson came on as Nick Fury in the movies. Even I thought it was one of the.
Oh God!
I thought it was one of the best casting choices ever.
He looked a lot like him.
No, because who else could be a badass like Sam Jackson, which is what Nick Fury is. See, all I cared about was the character. What?
No. I'll save it for another time.
No,
Okay,
say
so
it
another
right
time.
now.
Go
Say it
ahead.
right now. I want to hear.
No. We'll be here all night.
Okay, it's another time. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
It's not another time. Dude, we need a whole nother separate universe to say what I'm going to say. No, but anyway, go back to what you were saying.
Well, what I was saying is I have no issue with that. Now, I have... Chris, have you read the new issue with the origin issue?
I have not yet. It's actually on one of my to-do list for this weekend, actually.
Yeah, well, you got to pick up 2 because number 2 comes out this week.
Yeah, so I'll probably do that as well.
Well, I want to hear, Chris, what was your reaction when you first heard that there was going to be a biracial Spider-Man or Miles Morales? Was your opinion, you thought, like, because we were talking off the air, you said something about thinking that Mary Jane being black or something. What was, just elaborate some more on that.
Oh, yeah. Because what happened was I was at work when I got the Twitter feed that there's going to be a new Spider-Man, and at first I thought this was going to be a separate series that would exist parallel to the current comics, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's going to be a black Spider-Man, there's going to be a black Mary Jane, a black Aunt May. Oh God, I'm like,
can you imagine a black Aunt May? That'd been funny. I mean, I see where you're going. It would have been like a whole split universe where everyone was just black, or all the main characters were black.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that'd be weird. No, but the thing I don't understand, well, I know it would alter the core, the integrity of Spider-Man. If they were going to just change the character's skin tone to black, I don't think I'd enjoy that series too much for some reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want the characters' personalities to
you want
change, but not like radically differ. Like, we don't want Aunt May being like, Peter, you get over here right now. She'd be whipping his ass or something like that. No, but a little variation. Because I mean, you have to take some liberties. You're not like bound to the cross. Like, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. So that was just something.
You think as Spider fans, I mean, true Peter Parker fans are living by that. By them seeing Miles Morales, you think that I would say that they have a lot of, they're bound to the cross.
Exactly. A lot of them don't want to accept any form of change, which I think it's human nature. Once you get so used to a cycle, you don't want to deviate from it. And I think that's the problem. People have gotten so attached to Peter Parker. I mean, he's a lovable character. He's going to be one of the most memorable in comic book history. But there are some changes. Like, there are times when you have to say, okay, give this a rest, come out with the new character. Now, that's not the reason why the logical fans are complaining. They're complaining because of the way they went out with Peter Parker. They essentially killed him off. That's what it appears to be. They killed him off to bring in this new dude.
Do you agree with me as far as they should have created an alternate universe, or actually just had Miles Morales living with Peter Parker and him being, like, let's say, San Francisco? And in New York, you have Peter Parker, and they're coexisting.
You got to watch the way you word that.
Why,
man?
Why?
But go ahead.
No, but do you think that would have been a better way as far as going about Miles Morales? Having him coexist with the real Peter Parker.
Well, I'd say it's a pretty interesting concept, because maybe like Peter Parker would take up a student, like he would teach him the ways of being Spider-Man. I don't know how he'd get his powers, but I think them coexisting would make much more logical sense. Like, if they did some sort of a crossover, like after we establish Miles in his sense, I think it would just make more sense. If they were going to bring him into this series, why not have him interact with Peter?
See, that I would like. Now, again, we're talking to NGS. You all know him as NeoGameSpark. On his YouTube channel, he's got millions of viewers, so... But we talked to our producer, Damien. He's not here now. He's out producing.
What would a producer do?
Yeah. Damien is a black guy. You, last I checked, are a black guy also. I asked him this question. Let me pose it to you also, see how you answer it. One of Brian Michael Bendis' and Axel Alonso's main selling points on why Miles Morales is that they want to tell new stories and they want to reflect the diversity in the world that they couldn't do with Peter Parker. My question to Damien and to you is, what is it about Peter Parker that he does so different that you guys don't?
I can hear the crickets over here. He's really thinking on this one.
It's kind of... You mind repeating the question?
Alex Trebek here. Repeat the question.
Yeah, I mean, what can they possibly do differently with Peter Parker that they can't that you guys would not identify with?
What could he do different than Peter that would be relevant? My God. Well, I can't really give a logical answer, but really, I don't see anything else so far. I mean, granted, his character hasn't developed yet, but man, yeah, come back to me in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So, Damien had the same answers. Like both of you guys actually said, I don't know. That's a good question. What is so different about Peter Parker? About any character, really? If they do this with, say, Captain America, Wolverine, any of them, if they come out with, like you put in your video, an Indian Wolverine now or a Chinese Captain America, what is so different about them than Steve Rogers and Logan or Wolvie? What can we do with an ethnic hero that we can't do with the regular white hero? That's always
make
been
a lot
question.
more money.
Really? You really think so?
Actually, well, I know a lot of people like to use this excuse that they're just going for the money. They're going for the money, but it's been proven, that sometimes ethnic heroes can sell well. And I don't really think that's the main drive they're going for. No way, that'd be a big slap in the face of the comic book fans. But they would make some money, and it would get more word out there if there was an ethnic. If there was an ethnic superhero, but that's not the main reason Marvel's going for that. That's just a spitball.
And again, same thing with that. My issue is that I have no problem with that either. But why not make a completely different character? I mean, they're called a House of Ideas. Don't you have any ideas on a new character?
Oh, not with John Quesada.
Joe Quesada. Well, actually, now it's
I'm thinking of my friend John. He was like, I'm the descendant of Quesada because my name is Quesada. No, your name is not spelled Quesada. Stop it.
No, I was going to say, actually, it's Axel now. Joe handles just the movie side of things. But I mean, it seems that Axel Alonso just came on the Marvel. When was it? When did we go to WonderCon? Like May or whatever? Yeah. Right around that time. He's only been, 3-4 months in the job? So you can count. I guess
he's like Miles Morales. It's new to him.
Yeah, I guess this is where he wants to take Marvel. And again, I have no problem with that. That's fine. We need a lot of we need some color injected into our superheroes. We really do. I mean, Superman's cool and all that. So is Spider-Man, Peter Parker, all that. But we have to have more than just Blade.
Yeah, I was thinking of him.
I mean, come on, we need more.
But what made Blade, to go on to elaborate more on that, was that it was not that he was black. It was because he was killing vampires. He was a vampire hunter, and it was just awesome to see him.
It was freaking epic.
Now, if only they sparkled, it'd be even better. But anyway.
Oh, man, because seriously, that's how vampires always acted.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
It would have been so threatening.
That's our sort of our argument about Miles Morales. Besides talking comic books, what else does NeoGameSpark talk about, especially on your YouTube channel? Tell us about that.
Oh, well, I do actually a little bit of everything. I do vlogs, which are essentially my time where I would do like a lot of updates and information releases about, video games, anime, manga, and I would also give my general thoughts on it. I'm also really big into collecting. I collect a lot of anime-related paraphernalia, and also I'm big into Blu-ray. Video games, like talking about video games, it's like variety is sort of the spice of my channel. I'm working on expanding it to different demographics, and I've just always wanted to get back into doing comic books. I want to start doing that up again, which is why I need to pick up the first 2 issues of the new Spider-Man, so I can talk about them and give my opinion. Since everyone's holding me to the cross with that, like, okay, you said you give it the BOTD, now tell us what you think.
Yeah, and sticking to comic books again, I didn't get too many responses on the New 52, the DC reboot. I've always said I've never really been a DC guy. I've always been a Marvel guy, but I do follow.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, and I do follow what goes on in their universe, not religiously, of course, but as a comic collector, how do you see this complete reboot of all their titles?
Well, I have a lot of mixed things to say, so I might contradict myself. Just putting it out there so no one writes in the comments. But on the surface, to any comic book fan, this would it's like freaking blasphemy because they're taking already a good thing and they're going back and redoing it. And in a time when reboots are like, the new hip thing to jump on the bandwagon for, nobody likes that because then they have to retell the story all over again. And now they're going to tell it even worse because they're morons reading these comics, so they have to dumb it down. So I can see where some of the hardcore fans are coming for. They don't want to keep reading the same recycled stuff over and over again. But when you look at it from a business perspective, this should be no shocker to anybody. Comic books, as opposed to how they were in the heyday, they don't sell as much. So I think DC, they want to bring a more fresh approach. They want to start off with like one. They don't want to have like, Superman comic number 352. It's like, where's issue 1? Oh, that's like back in the 60s, man. It's not here. You can't get it. So I'd say it's too many points. But what would you say on the whole idea?
Same thing. I mean, like I said, I'm coming at this from not as a DC guy, but as a comic book collector, especially some people that have been there, because Superman, Batman, they're like, what, 40, 50 years old now? People who have been there since that time, they're probably not even collecting anymore. But if you did, it's all of a sudden, okay, all that stuff, all the comic books, everything that you collected means absolutely nothing because this is the real story now. See, like you said, yeah, it is a slap in the face. Like, sorry for, we're glad you were loyal, but we don't really care about you. We want new readers.
Well, also, with new comic books nowadays compared to back then, there's less words, more sales of just pictures, and so you're going to see a lot less conversations in the newer ones that you did get back in the day. And then we got with proof with the Miles Morales. I mean, like 3 pages in, I was like, all right, that's it. Not enough talking, more pictures. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, everyone's getting rebooted. Spider-Man, the whole DC universe. I'm thinking of getting a reboot, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I do have to say though about the Ultimate Spider-Man, Sarah Pichelli, who's the artist on the new, who drew Miles and the new one, she did do some pretty good work. I do like the art in the new Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, it's up to date. It's current. Compared to back in the day.
That's one of the things that I really enjoy about modern comics. The art style has become very dynamic. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost see it moving. That's how she draws Miles and everybody. I can't wait to see him when he's actually swinging through New York. So
word.
Well, we got the new movie for that one. So
see, and again, right there, that's proof to all of you out there that are saying, "Oh, Henry just hates Miles Morales." No, I'm giving it a chance. I'm holding it in my hands. I went out and bought it. I'm going to buy number 2. When it loses me, trust me, you'll know. But right now, I'm interested. I want to see what they're going to do.
Yo, Chris, let me get your opinion. What do you think about the new reboot for the Amazing Spider-Man?
You mean the movie, right?
The movie, yeah.
In 3D. But honestly, I cannot wait for the movie because just based off where they were going with after part 3 on Sam Raimi, well, I think the haters can agree to this. It's not as bad as what would have been Spider-Man 4. I'll just say that. Like, I love the movie. I'm gonna love seeing the Amazing Spider-Man, but to all the people who say, "Oh, well, the trailer sucks," do you really want to see Felicia Hardy as the Voltress?
No,
and that's just like one of the things that Sam Raimi said he was going to change.
Romo's making a face like, what? That's actually the script that Sam Raimi had for Spider-Man 4.
Yeah, and he had a lot more things, and just the idea that Venom is dead.
The same way Sandman was tied into Uncle Ben's death.
Yeah,
I think I talked about it last year on the show. He was going to tie in the Vulture to Sandman and go on, so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, I am glad as well, my friend, because just too much shit would have to be changed around, and it wouldn't even make logical sense. It'd be like X-Men 3.
Yeah.
On Alcatraz.
But we don't talk about that.
X3 never happened.
Lest we forget. We will never forgive. We will never forget.
There was an X3? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, what was... Oh, yeah, me neither. As far as I know, there's only X1, X2. There's that Wolverine spinoff in First Class.
Yeah. X3. Yeah, I'm glad I never did one of those. I mean... What could they have possibly done with X3 if they did it? I mean, like pick up the Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, they did destroy it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that movie made no sense.
Well, speaking of movies, it's public. It's on your YouTube channel, so I'm going to ask you about it. It's not like it's a secret or anything. In one of your FAQ videos, you mentioned you would like to be a movie director. So I kind of got how you feel about 3D, which is pretty much the same way we feel about it here on the show. It's like enough already. But you mentioned reboots. Let me ask you this: do you consider? No, I mean, as a director, would you not that you're a big major director, but would you?
How do you know?
That's true. Would you approach a movie differently if it was as a remake, a reboot, or a reimagining? Would you approach them differently, or would you just copy somebody else's work?
Oh, well, on the subject of a remake is essentially, from what I've seen, all the examples, all the movies, they are copying it word for word, verbatim, as much as they can. That is what I see in a remake. There are those rare cases, but if you're going to change up enough of the original work, it's more or less a reimagining, and when you're going towards a reboot, like let's just say you're rebooting let's just take Spider-Man since we're on the topic. You want to keep the core, the integrity of what made the comics great, and you want to acknowledge the film series that came before it. You don't want to really replicate all the things that was done in the previous film. You want to go into it with a breath of fresh air, your take on it, while still respecting the original source material.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Reimagining to me would be kind of like what JJ did with Star Trek a couple years ago.
Yeah, Star Trek. That is a great example of reimagining. It's not
the
a
same
reboot.
Universe, but now we have different rules.
Yeah, you have different rules, and it actually makes sense because of the things that happen with the time distortion. Going back. I mean, people love to bash on it like, oh, it doesn't make sense, but really. Do you really want to be bound by the original movie's laws? You're just gonna be getting the same films that you got back in the 80s.
Exactly. And well, again, with that, I even go back to the 60s. I wasn't alive in the 60s, but I do like the original series. And they're good, but that did need an injection of modernness, if that's the word.
Clear. You just injected something.
Yeah, so I hope you do get to that, be a director. We did an experiment here on the show last year where I had the guys here try to come up with something original, and they did, but everything that you guys came up with, I compared it to something else that's out there already.
In the end, we realized that there's nothing original these days. Hopefully,
but that's something we all have to accept that. Like, there's literally nothing original these days. Everyone's done it before, but. Well, everyone has done it before. That doesn't stop you from adding your own type of style to it. I mean, Avatar is a blatant ripoff of Pocahontas, Smurfs,
Dancing with Wolves.
Dancing with Wolves. The other one, The Last Samurai. It's blatant. All they do is just change the setting and change the characters. I see no type of flair whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I'm not acting like every new director has to come out with the greatest that no one's ever seen before, but do it your own.
Not original, but I just like the way it was executed. I'm still talking about it today. Is Inception was a phenomenal movie because not just me, but everybody's still talking about it. See,
oh my God, yeah.
And that's the kind of movie the kind of movies that you want. It doesn't have to be science fiction or anything. It's just a movie that just sticks with you.
Exactly.
And again, you can tie this into the Miles Morales thing. We had Jeff Loeb on last year from Marvel, and Paul Dini, who ironically will be working on the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon for Disney XD later this year. Yes, that's a hint. We'll talk to them as we get closer to that.
Oh God! Why?
Both of them, though, however, they made very good points, and that is the reason why we like movies, stories, whatever, comics, whatever it is because of the characters. If you give a damn about the characters, whether they die, live, or whatever, then you'll invest in it. If you don't care if it's Miles Morales or who it is. So, with that I put into the Miles Morales thing. That's why, like someone like me, doesn't like this Miles Morales thing, is because we cared about Peter Parker, the character.
That's the most important part out of any form whatsoever. You have to learn to love the characters. I mean, because if you don't have a likable protagonist, you don't really have a series. I don't care how epic it is, but if you got somebody who's an utter douchebag who you're not going to relate to in any way, how is that going to make a good series?
See, and I'm smiling. You can't see it, of course, but I'm smiling because
I see it.
We talked about Skyline, the movie Skyline, And when we went to see it, the characters, we were rooting for them to get killed because we really care about them.
Yeah, go die.
Like because they were the most annoying, the most empty-headed.
They're doing a lot of dumb mistakes that we all know that is common sense when you're getting attacked by aliens. But to them, they were like going towards the light. All right, I want to see you get killed.
Yeah. Characters are important. Again, that's where I'm approaching to going back to why the reason Chris is even on with this. The Miles Morales thing, that's my issue. I don't care about he's black, he's yellow, he's rainbow color, whatever. I don't care about
He's
that.
a Smurf.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Well, probably
That would
not,
have been a
'cause-
good episode. Actually, yeah, that would have been. I would have invested into that. Smurf Spider-Man.
Oh, sick.
Okay, you're right. Get off my show. No, but there you go. I mean,
Back to the characters.
yeah. The point of this is we care about this. We are the real readers, and obviously, even people who haven't probably picked up a comic in 20, 30 years. You care about this because Superman. I think you mentioned it, Chris, in your video. This is somebody that we've all grown up with, whether it's the movies, whether it's the cartoon, the '67 cartoon, the theme that I played when we started this segment. I think it was on the Electric Company, somewhere on there. Everybody knows Spider-Man from somewhere, from coloring books, from everything, and a lot of us, especially on the audience that listens to this show, there's a reason why it's called Geek Speak. We geek out about this stuff, and we geek out because we care about them. They've made us who and what we are. That they've colored our world, and so when you start changing things, it's like everything else. I mean, when you get home, if all of a sudden your computer's not where you left it, your toothbrush isn't where you left it, you start, okay, what the hell happened here? Same reaction here. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But just to stress this out again, we are giving the series a chance. I mean, it's not like we're going to utterly dismiss this like, oh, it's crap, we don't need it. Because, if we learn to love the Miles Morales character, this is just something. This is just going to ram this. They're going to get so mad at this. If we learn to love the character of Miles Morales, like we did Peter Parker, then that alone is going to save the... You guys know how bad some of the plots in like Spider-Man have been going, some of the arcs.
Yeah.
And why did people keep supporting it? Because Peter Parker.
Right.
See, so something about loving the characters equals buying it. So if we learn to love Miles Morales, maybe when the arcs, it's a chain reaction.
Yeah, and again, going on with what Chris just said, it's right here. It's in my hand. I did go out and buy it. It's not like I'm just hating it just because without even reading it. I did read it, and I am going to go buy number 2, number 3, because I want to see what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, it's like Kick-Ass.
Yeah, well, I like Kick-Ass. I didn't hate Kick-Ass. I liked it. But, I mean, this one, again, I don't hate Miles Morales. I just don't like the reason why he's there. I don't like the way he was introduced, is all.
You like that he was born. You just didn't like how his inception came along.
Yeah, I don't like his origin, how he became Spider-Man, because it's too much... like Peter Parker.
Yeah, then they might as well just have rebooted it.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do that, even call it that, and I bet you a lot of us would have accepted it. So there you go. Again, Chris, you guys know him as NeoGameSpark, NGS, his YouTube channel. Anything else? Any other channels, websites? Anything you want to plug while you're here?
Well, I just want to plug some things. I do have a Blip account, blip.tv/NGSTV. I'm going to be starting and uploading a lot of more content on there. So anyone else who's listening, check me out there. Also, if you guys like live streams, I do host a blog TV, Ustream Justin TV every now and then. So if you want to, talk with me on air, get your question answered on air, then be sure to check me out there. And really, that's all.
So there you go. That's all. That's enough for Miles Morales right now. Chris, thanks a lot. Whenever you want to come back, you're more than welcome. We'll talk some more stuff. And
no doubt.
Yeah, and we'll be right back.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Now back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
And we are back on the Geek Speak Radio Show, continuing this not heated, just very interesting conversation about Miles Morales. We did want to talk about the New 52, but like I said, we didn't get too many responses from you guys. I asked you guys on our Facebook to send us some comments what you think of the New 52 and the new Spider-Man. We were inundated with Spider-Man responses. No big shock there. everybody's reacting to it because it's the death of Spider-Man. Ultimate Universe, yes, but it's Spider-Man. And especially the reaction to the introduction of Miles Morales. That's what we've been talking about. Thanks again to Chris, NGS YouTube channel. He plugged it all there, you guys. He's got 1 million viewers. Everybody knows who he is. So thanks to that. Now let's talk to somebody else. Last week you guys heard us introduce, well, you heard me introduce because Romo was busy moving into his new dwelling place.
Yep.
But you heard me introduce a new feature that we're going to have on here, and you'll hear it later on in the show. That is our DVD movie review with Rama from ramascreen.com. If you guys go on there, there's a section that he has on the website that says podcasts. And guess what he has on there?
What?
Podcasts. A lot of them are with David Lee, and they talk comic books. Now, David Lee is on the phone with us, and he is a real comic book geek, and he can talk about the New 52 and Spider-Man, and let's do that right now. David Lee, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
No problem. So let's start with the New 52, since we've been doing nothing but Spider-Man this hour. Let's change it up a little bit. Like I've said already, I'm not a DC guy. I mean, I follow what happens in the universe sporadically, but I'm not a loyal Wednesday shopper like I am with the Marvel titles. Are you a DC reader?
Yes, I'm a very hardcore DC reader.
Good, just what I wanted. So, when you first heard about the New 52, what was your first reaction?
Oh man, my first reaction was, "What the hell are they thinking?" And then I started to try to think optimistic about it. I was reading Dan DiDio's Facebook page and some of the publicity advertisements, and I'm thinking, okay, well, let's give this a chance. But as more and more information started trickling out to the internet and a few choice things that Dan DiDio had said about a reboot, I went, wait, what? And then to find out it's only a partial reboot with some characters confuses me, and I'm pretty sure it confuses a lot of the other readers. Yes, I'm sure all answers will be given in time, but still, it's like, why a partial reboot?
Yeah, I actually have a list here of all the 52 titles. I see, the usual Action Comics, Superman, Batman, all of them. But again, explain it to me. So, is this a complete reboot, or no, or what is going on here?
That's actually the million-dollar question going through a lot of people's minds, myself included. With the 52 reboot, some of the titles have been rebooted, some of them have not, which, once again, that raises a major continuity question. Titles like Batgirl have not been rebooted at all. They move on past the whole Oracle Barbara Gordon issue where she was crippled during the Killing Joke and then became one of the most powerful DC heroes ever with her technology.
Right.
She's now Batgirl again. And writer Gail Simone is actually touching on that particular incident during the Killing Joke, and it really comes into play in Batgirl #1. Then you have other titles like Supergirl, where it seems to be completely rebooted. The same thing with Superboy. It's a complete and total reboot. So where do they fit in?
Now, with the major titles like Batman, Superman, because those, everybody who doesn't even collect DCs, those names right away. Are Absolutely. Those complete reboots, or how are they handling those?
Batman is not a reboot as far as I'm aware. Bruce Wayne is back under the cowl. His son Damian Wayne is Robin still, once as he was before the reboots. Superman, I believe, is a reboot. I know for a fact that Lois Lane and Clark Kent have been split up, and that has been to the chagrin of many readers, myself included. You've got Action Comics, which is supposed to tell the tale of Superman's past, his beginnings, in which Superman actually works for a rival newspaper company, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Again, we're talking to David Lee. You can hear him on ramascreen.com in the section called Podcast. There are podcasts there. Hey, what a concept, huh? So you can hear them both on there talking about a comic book movies. Right now, we're talking to David about the New 52, DC's New 52, which is basically a reboot, we think. Like David just said, it's the million-dollar question. Now, as a comic collector, do you? Because somebody mentioned that earlier on the show. Do you see that as a slap in the face to you, especially if you were a loyal Wednesday shopper and all of a sudden you're told, hey, those really don't matter. These are the new ones you should start getting?
Yes and no. It depends heavily on how much you're connected to the character. For me, being connected to Superboy as much as I was, because I actually cosplay Superboy at some of the conventions like Dragon Con, to find out that Superboy had been rebooted, I was like, well, where's the character I love so much? Where did he go? He had a rich history with the Teen Titans, and then during Infinite Crisis, and now it's all wiped out.
Yeah, now you got to make a new costume now, too.
Exactly. And I'm kind of like, what's going on here? There's some characters where I don't really care as much because really, as a friend of mine had put it during a conversation I had with him, the story is what matters. The question is, how well can they connect these stories? And I don't feel like having to restart everything all over again.
Is it the story that matters or the characters that matter?
It's a mix of both, in my opinion. If the story is very solid, the characters will flow as well, kind of like a 1-2 combo.
Okay. Yeah, so again, we're talking to David Lee about the New 52, DC's New 52. And yeah, characters are important, story is important, which leads us to the other thing we're talking about here, is Miles Morales being introduced as the new Ultimate Spider. Not amazing, the Ultimate Spider-Man. I've mentioned it already, so real quick, for those of you that are just tuning in, I'll mention it again. I didn't like it, not because it's a black Spider-Man. I don't care about that. What I didn't like is the fact that you killed off Peter Parker to introduce Miles Morales, and Miles Morales will be inhabiting Ultimate Peter Parker's universe. Aunt May will be there. Mary Jane will be there. Norman Osborn, who was supposedly dead, is here also. In fact, played a part, spoiler alert, played a part in his origin story. How do you see what they're doing in the Ultimate Spider-Man?
Truth told, I'm not really much of a fan of it as of yet. Granted, it's only the first issue, so things will start to heat up, but it felt really lackluster. In this first issue, we didn't really see much of anything. Yeah, Norman Osborn showed up when he should be dead, but we didn't see any web shooting. We didn't see any jumping. At least in Ultimate Spider-Man #1 back in 2000, we got to see a little bit of that jumping around and stuff towards the end of the issue. This one, nothing. It was very, very lackluster for me. I don't care that Miles Morales is black, like you said. As you said as well before, it's a new character. Make it completely new. Don't try to ape off of an already trashed universe to bring something new.
Yeah, and if they did that, it wouldn't be a shock to anybody because number one, there's multiverses that they call them, and there's also been titles. There's Web of, there's Spectacular, there's Amazing, Astonishing, all that stuff. So it wouldn't be a shock. Oh wait, a new Spider-Man title? Yeah, do that. I would accept it if they did that, or even kind of like in Batman, if Miles Morales came out of however they introduced him, and he was a sort of sidekick or the heir apparent to Peter Parker, because Peter has been around for a while now.
Yeah,
I don't think I would, as a fan, a real Spider-Man fan, I would not have a problem with that at all.
I wouldn't either, to an extent. If you, in current Marvel 616 canon, if you look at the current arc they're running, Spider Island, yeah, who's to say that Miles Morales couldn't have got his powers from Spider Island?
Right.
Would have made more sense. In an earlier storyline, I want to say back in 2006, maybe a little earlier, Spider-Man the Other, you being a Spider-Man fan, you should probably know about that one. They showed that the spider powers came from a totem, and Ezekiel had the powers. You could even go out so far as to say that Miles Warren, the Jackal, created Miles Morales.
Yeah, see, and right there, it's already. I mean, this new Miles Morales Spider-Man, it's a big issue in the media, but like everything else, come this weekend or whenever, they will have forgotten about it. They'll go on to the next whatever's bleeding headline. But for us, the real fans, we're still stuck with Miles Morales, and we expect, like you just said, we expect a great story out of it, great characters. Even though you're going to base it in the same universe, okay, I'm giving it a chance. I spent my money, went out and bought the issue. I'm not just hating it without even reading it. I read it. I wasn't impressed. Like you, I wasn't really impressed either. I'm gonna get issue #2 later this week and keep on collecting to see what they're gonna do with it. However, what I do have issue with is the way Marvel is handling the PR for it, the marketing for it. And again, I was going to have Axel Alonso or Brian Michael Bendis on here and talk about it, but we've all read them, we've all seen them, we've all seen interviews with them, and they're pretty much giving us a company line. Yes, we have the new Miles Morales because we wanted to create a character that personifies the diversity in our world today. That's fine. However, if you're going to do that, especially when you call yourself the House of Ideas, why can't you come up with a new original hero?
Agreed.
That's the only issue I have with Miles Morales on there. Nothing else. Like I said, I'm giving it a chance. I went out and bought the comic book. I'm probably going to keep on buying it. I don't hate the character because he's black. I don't care about that. I don't like it because of that. Because we all know that these guys, the guys working at Marvel, they're very talented, they're very creative. Create somebody new. I'll go read it too, just like everything else.
Absolutely. I would do the same thing. Truth told, after Dark Reign, Secret Invasion, House of M, everything that they've thrown at us regarding Marvel, well, not Marvel, but Norman Osborn in Marvel, truth told, I'm tired of it. Yeah. I don't like Norman Osborn. I really don't care for the character. He's very boring to me, and they shoved him down our throats during the whole triple threat crisis they did with Marvel. I think my favorite moment was when Cyclops of the X-Men pretty much told Norman Osborn to get out.
Yeah.
And enforced it against the Dark Avengers. And now we have to turn around and see him pulling the exact same attitude, the exact same plot with Miles Morales that we've seen in the original Ultimate Spider-Man and throughout decades with the Spider-Man in the mainstream canon.
Yeah,
do something different.
Yeah, and you made a good point also a minute ago. They had the perfect storyline right now with Spider Island going on in Amazing and Earth 616. Who's to say Miles Morales wasn't going to come out with spider powers, because all of New York has it now. And if you wanted to introduce him that way, that would have been a perfect way to do it, instead of just, oh, by the way, here's Miles Morales, who was also, as we see now from the origin story, created by Norman Osborn, whether he knew it willingly or not. That's pretty much the way the way it happened already, because the issue is out.
Exactly. I mean, they could have done it so many different ways. Spider Island, as I said before, you could even pull off the blasted clone saga if you really, really wanted to go there.
That's true. If I was actually working with Marvel and I was one of the writers, I would have took advice from you. If I would have actually hired you to be one of the writers, because you know that Norman or Osborn is not working. So, I mean, given that there's a lot of conflict between this new Miles Morales, will you still be would you spend your time and money into this comic book?
Yes, because Marvel or DC, I am a loyal comic book reader, and as much as I like to complain about it, it's almost like an addiction. You want to know what happens next. And sure, you can read spoilers, but it's just not the same.
Is that what they bank on, both of them, DC and Marvel, is the fact that, like I said, this Miles Morales thing, yeah, it's going to be a big issue right now with the media, but like everything else, and I know I'm in the media, they move on, except for us. Mm-hmm. That's what we call the Geek Speak radio show. This is what we talk about. And we'll be talking about this, we'll follow whatever happens with Miles Morales. Is that what these two companies bank on? All the changes that they make, are they thinking in the back of their head, well, it doesn't really matter because, yeah, it'll be controversial in the beginning, but the loyal readers, they'll be there. They'll be loyal.
I think so. Granted, yeah, they do say that sales are atrocious right now, and they're also trying to shift over to digital copy, and with the advent of people scanning in comics and downloading them, what have you, if I think the issue is good, I will go out and I'll try and buy it and still support the industry. But Marvel and DC, they feel in general that readers are going to come back no matter what. They're going to go out there, they're going to buy it. There's fanboys on both sides of the fence. There's fanboys in the indies. You've got people who stick by Marvel, by DC, by Dark Horse, by Kitchen Sink, Top Cow, you name it. They've got fanboys that will eat up those comics as long as they come out. Yeah. And they know that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, my problem right now is the PR move that they're using for Marvel. They're waving this flag of diversity with Miles Morales being their new character. For me, it was never. They should just be real and just talk about it. That they made a big mistake as far as because they're not answering this question why they just didn't want to. They should have just created a new universe for Miles Morales. Why didn't they? Given that should have been
we have
how they
6
always
others.
do.
Why not?
Well, but still, create a new character and have that be their new flagship, not this flagship of a diversity for this new character.
Absolutely, I agree. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to repair the damage they did with Ultimatum, because I'm sorry, Ultimatum was a major misstep. They killing off all the Ultimate X-Men, the death of Spider-Man, which seriously angered me in general. They just completely mishandled all of that. And so now they're trying to pick up the pieces and move on. But if they're going to do it, what's the old saying? Go big or go home.
Yeah.
Times they are changing, and I mean, we know Axel Alonso just came on earlier this year. He's only been on for 4 or 5 months in the editor-in-chief spot. Obviously, we're going to be watching closely to see what changes he does make from what he's done so far, just summer and into now. How do you see it as one of the real fanboys who goes there every Wednesday?
Right now, I think it's more of a hurry up and wait and try to see what's going to happen. It's with Alonso, he's only been there such a short time that trying to get these changes, it's going to take longer than this.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot longer. I mean, it's going to take more than a 6-issue comic arc with Miles Morales or a 12-issue maxi series arc with a Crisis to really prove that he knows what the deuce he's doing. And I really hope he does, because it's not just his sales he's messing with. It's us loyal fanboys that he's messing with.
Yeah, I do know that a lot of people in Marvel do listen to our show, our podcast now. So you have their ears. As a real fanboy, real loyal Marvel follower, what bit of advice would you give to Axel and everybody else at Marvel?
The best thing I can say to Marvel is, Marvel, you need to listen to your fans. Listen to us. Don't listen to your sales. Don't listen to your publicists. Don't listen to your yes men. Listen to people like me. Listen to people like the Geek Speak radio show. Go to your comic book stores. Talk to your fans. We know the stories. We know the continuity. We're not stupid. Use us. We are the best tool for opinions, characters. You talk to us, we're going to talk to you, and that will always, always provide for a better product. And you will keep loyal fans like myself.
Very well said. Again, that's David Lee. You can hear him on ramascreen.com, one of our new features. Rama's going to come up in just a few minutes. He'll be doing a, I think, Blu-ray review. Speaking of comic books, there's a certain comic book movie that just came out on Blu-ray last week, so he's going to talk about that and some other surprises. But you can go to the ramascreen.com website. On there, he's got podcasts. A lot of them are David Lee and Rama talking comic book movies, because Rama said it last week. He's not really the comic book guy. Obviously, we are. Obviously, Dave is. Dave, can we call on you again if we ever need more comic commentary?
Absolutely, 100%. You let me know, and I'll be there to give my advice.
Yeah, and I think without meaning to, I just named your feature comic commentary.
There you go.
So we can call it that. So again, David Lee, thanks a lot, and we will hopefully talk to you again.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
And here we go.
Let's Speak Geek
You're listening to the Geek Speak Radio Show
on the Geek Speak Radio Show.
All right, and here we go, the second hour of the Geek Speak Radio Show, continuing our conversation about the new 52 and the new Spider-Man. Romo is not going to be here because he went to go pick his book for the Geek Speak Radio Show Book Club, which we'll do in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere if you're waiting for that. It's coming up. But I figured, let's go. We've heard from all of you. Let's go behind the counter, so to speak, now. Not with Marvel, not with DC, but where you guys get the new 52 and the new Spider-Man, the comic book shops. And I figured, why not start at what Stan Lee calls one of the world's greatest comic book stores? That will be Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff in Concord, California. On the phone is Joe Field, the owner. Joe, welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Good to be with you, Henry. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Sure.
So the first thing I want to ask you is, as a comic book shop owner, how, with your readers there and your customers, what was their reaction when they first heard that the New 52 were going to come out?
I think when it was first announced that the New 52 was coming out, there was a lot of mixed emotions to it. That a lot of people felt like they were going to be losing old friends or losing continuity on characters they'd cared about for a long time. Of course, there were just as many people who were saying that, that was going to be their opportunity to actually jump onto DC and give their books a try. So I think over the course of the couple of months between the announcement and when the books first started coming out, we went through, what Elizabeth Kubler-Ross called the 5 stages of grief. And that was, at first it was, anger, and we had, we went with, when anybody is going through a difficult time, they always start with, denial that there's no way they could do this to my characters. They can't do this. What are they going to do? And the second thing is anger, where they get really ticked off, like, I'm never going to buy another DC book as long as I live. And the third chip was bargaining, right? So it was like, well, maybe if they keep the numbering on action and detective, I'll hang in there for a while longer.
Right.
And then there, the fourth stage is depression. It's like, oh, I don't know. I don't think any of this stuff is going to work. And finally, it's acceptance. But, I'm going to add a 6th stage that for this, and that is rejuvenation. And I think that's what we've really seen, is we've seen a lot of people just, it's almost like a weight's been lifted off their shoulder, that things are turning out a whole lot better than they expected, and they're feeling really good about stuff. And there hasn't been this kind of buzz in my comic shop at Flying Colors in quite some time. And I think a lot of it has to do with some of the good execution that DC's had on these titles.
Yeah, last hour I spoke to a lot of the actual readers, the fans of the comic books, and I also asked before we did the show, I also asked on our Facebook page, for some thoughts. What does everybody think about the New 52 and Spider-Man? Didn't get too many things about the New 52, and the few that I did, they were not negative at all. It's like you said, they really, really like it. At first, they were, like you said, questioning, like, okay, what's going on? Why? But now that we're going into, I think, the second or third week of the printings, they like it. They're actually embracing it. And I liken it actually kind of to your other creation, Free Comic Book Day. Is not only is it making the regular readers happy, but it's also bringing in new readers, because they don't have to go through all that backstory. They can actually jump in from the beginning now.
Well, and we've seen a number of readers who had stopped buying comics for whatever reason come back because they heard the buzz and wanted to see what was going on. And I think a shake-up every once in a while can be a really good thing. This wasn't a change for change's sake. This was a way for DC to sort of marshal all the forces and do something that was very concentrated and very high impact. And they did that in a way that helps retailers, because some of the books they've made returnable, even though I think most of the retailers have sold out of most of the ones that have been made returnable. And they've done a number of different things that really make this whole thing much more impactful than just starting over Batman this month with #1, and then next week they would do Red Robin and the Outlaws, and the week after, rather than a one at a time, or feeling like, oh, this story is going nowhere, so we're going to just start over again. What they decided to do was give everyone a chance to get on board at the beginning of something big. And given that there are some little Easter eggs for those who are picking up all of the books, then, it makes it even more of an attractive deal.
Yeah, and again, we're talking to Joe Field, owner of Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff in Concord, California. The other thing, which is more important, I guess, to DC than anybody else, is two things. One, now that we're in the second, going into the third week, how is it performing in the comic books, and what are the reader reactions now that they've actually read the stories?
Well, each week we're getting 12 or 13 new titles, and so we don't get immediate reaction to those when people pick them up. We're getting sort of 1 week delayed reactions. What did you like from last week? What was your favorite? That sort of thing. And for us, the key is how many people are saying that they want to come back to these stories month after month. And there's been a pretty good pickup on it so far. Again, it's the first month, so I think this is when there's likely to be the biggest jolt of interest. But this looks like it has some legs to it. So I'm not seeing anything that's just completely dying on the vine at this point, because the sampling across the entire line has been really huge.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, from what we got last hour, and then just for what I've been seeing online, people talking back and forth on podcasts and blogs and everything, it seems to be a big hit. Now, the other thing we've been talking about last hour is pretty evenly down the middle. Either you really, really like it or you really, really hate it. And that was the introduction of Miles Morales as the new Ultimate Spider-Man. In your store, what was the reaction to Miles Morales?
Well, the book Ultimate Comics, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate, I don't know what they're calling it this time, but it's selling pretty well. It is sort of in the shadow of all the DC stuff at this point to a large degree. I don't think the story made it nearly as big as anyone was hoping, but I think it also has the potential to continue to unfold over the next few months. It doesn't have as much of an impact, honestly, because it's the ultimate version of Spider-Man. And people see that as sort of an alternate universe thing anyway. So, Marvel could actually do anything to any of those characters, and I don't think it would have the huge effect that it has when when they killed the Human Torch in Fantastic Four. That was, or when they killed Captain America in the regular Marvel universe. That was much bigger than the Human Torch thing, even, and both of those were at least twice as big as the death of Ultimate Spider-Man and the debut of Miles Morales. So, to me, and this is plugging things, but to me, the biggest story in Spider-Man recently is that our own character, Captain Four-Color, is on the newest issue of Amazing Spider-Man, on Amazing Spider-Man 669. We have an exclusive variant where Captain Four-Color is saving Spider-Man. So, to me, that's a much bigger deal, and we've sold probably 3 times as many copies of that as we have Ultimate Spider-Man #1 or the death of Ultimate Spider-Man.
And if you're hearing about that for the first time, welcome back from Mars. Are there still any available at Flying Colors?
Oh yeah. We still have them available. It's a cool deal that we put together with Marvel on this one. And last weekend we had artist Todd Knock in the store to sign them, and we also had Mick Gray signing the new Batman and Robin, the DC New 52, and Victor Kalvachev, who's the cover artist on Men of War from DC the New 52. And the creator of Blue Estate from Image Comics. So we were able to do a nice little event for our 23rd anniversary last Saturday, and a lot of it was based around having all of these special things coming out at the same time. It's been kind of a nice little splash with all these good things going on in comics all across the board.
And you can keep up with what's going on at Flying Colors at flyingcolorscomics.com, or on their Facebook page, or on the YouTube page. It's sometimes on there also. But you and I, we're used to alternate universes because of a show we both like, Fringe.
Oh, yeah.
Which is back now. But not as a comic shop owner, as a Spider-Man fan like myself, how did you see the introduction of Miles Morales?
How did I see it? Well, I thought it was handled very, very well in the story. That's really Ultimate Spider-Man is really Bendis's baby, and he knows what he's doing with that book. So I think I think it's great for what it is, but is it completely earth-shattering, earth-breaking, mind-numbing comics? Well, not to me. Maybe to some people it is, but everyone has their own opinion on it. So I'm just happy that a lot of people are responding to it by buying it, and because it is just the introduction right now, we don't know where this is going. So I think this is one of those things where we want to be along for the ride to see what Bendis is going to pull out of his sleeve to really mess with us in terms of what he's going to do with this new character.
Plus, we all know that characters don't tend to stay dead in comics, so who knows what will happen in the future.
Well, again, it's the Ultimate Comics universe, so they can pretty much do anything they want to with it, but death is definitely not sacred in comic books. It is a marketing ploy, and it's a good story element too. But it's I often compare comics to the old soap operas, and all my children going off the air this week after 40 some odd years. Well, how many times was Erica Kane married, and how many babies did she have, and how many times did she kill somebody and get away with it and come back? And there's what we care about is what's the story now. Do we like the story now? Does it work now? And in comics especially, it's I'm less concerned with whether it fits into this huge tapestry of a continuity, and more concerned with, is this a satisfying story to me as I'm reading it? If comic books were food, we shouldn't be concerned about the food we had 40 years ago. We should be concerned about the plate that's in front of us right now. And if it tastes good, go for it. If it doesn't taste good, move away, because there's plenty of other stuff on the comic smorgasbord that's delicious. So, I really think that they can pretty much do anything they want to with these characters, but what's critical is, what does it do for me now as a reader? Is it a good read? Is it one that I want to come back to month after month, or does it wind up at the bottom of the stack every month because I just labor to get to it? Well, if it's one of those, hey, stop buying it and move on to something that you really love reading.
Yeah, very well put. Again, Joe Field, owner of Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff in Concord, California. FlyingColorsComics.com is the website. You can find it on the Facebook. And Joe, I know you just had the anniversary celebration last weekend. You have anything else special planned at Flying Colors coming up?
Every day is special at Flying Colors. We've done this big promotion behind the DC New 52, and And it's still not too late for people to get in on it. Each week, while supplies last, when anyone buys all 13 of the books that are released that week, we give them a coupon that's good for 10% off a purchase in October. And if they've been with us for all 5 weeks of the introductions for these books, at the end of those 5 weeks, they can turn those 5 coupons in for one 52% off coupon that they can use. And that is a huge incentive for people to sample the entire DC line. But, occasionally we'll do things like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have some other things that are cooking. I know we have a couple of events that I'm working on, and one of them is a music event we'll have in the store, and then there's another signing that we're working on, but nothing specific to announce. It's just watch the website and hit us up on our Facebook fan page.
Yeah, and again, that's flyingcolorscomics.com or Facebook. Just put in Flying Colors, and you'll find them. So, Joe, thanks a lot. Let us know when that does happen, and we'll spread the word about it.
Sounds great, Henry.
Okay, Joe, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back. Back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. Now back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
And we are back on the Geek Speak Radio Show. Again, Romo is in our library where they're trying to pick a book for the book club. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Before that, our regular feature, another one, yes. You heard him last week. You're going to hear him again. Rama from ramascreen.com. Rama, welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you.
No problem. You heard that song that I played right there from the Transformers cartoon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did that just for you because we'll talk about a little bit about it as we get into the report. But your favorite movie from this year is finally coming out on DVD.
Yes.
Transformers, Dark of the Moon.
You got me there, bro. You got me. That's a cool one. I loved it so much I can't get enough of it. Yes.
Yeah, most movies come out on Tuesday. This one is actually going to come out on Friday. One thing I don't like, I saw a commercial for it. Yes, the other day when I was watching Fringe, they're trying to call it Transformers Friday. Sorry, not going to work. Friday belongs to Fringe. It's Fringe Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But today you are going to review a couple of movies for us. So why don't you go ahead and get into that?
The film is go
Rama,
ahead.
before you go on, see what you think of this. You know what I want to do for your feature, your movie reviews, especially the theatrical releases. How about from this point on, instead of saying like thumbs up, thumbs down, it's a good movie. How about you say if it's a really good movie, you got to buy it. If it's it's a rental, and if it's really really bad, just say don't even bother.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You
I
want to
guess
go with that?
kind of like a rating system, huh?
Yeah, that'll be our rating system. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can go with that. Yeah. Machine Gun Preacher, starring Gerard Butler, in a performance, true life story of Sam Childers, who protects the children of Sudan from the rebels who try to kidnap them and use them as children soldiers. So that's basically the premise. As I said, the movie itself is not a monumental achievement in filmmaking, but the story is so incredible that it makes it worth watching in itself. So it's directed by Mark Forster, who gave us Monsters Ball, The Kite Runner, and that Bond movie, The Quantum of Boredom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A lot of people didn't like that Bond, and I understand with them. And I was just like, it's not the best Bond movie. But yeah, so it's directed by Mark Forster, and it's very graphic. So you gotta go into Machine Gun Preacher knowing that you gotta be watching some violent stuff because Mark Forster does not shy away from the violence of the story of what the rebels did to these kids in Sudan. So there's going to be some scenes of mutilation, burnt bodies. I'm not going to spoil too much, but yeah, it's going to be quite graphic. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. The script itself is like I said, it's not the strongest, but and Gerard Butler's performance, there are times when he tries a little bit too hard. You can tell he wants to get in that emotional scenes. He wants to shed that tear, but you just can't fully believe him. But it's a good effort on his part, considering that he's always been known as an action and romantic comedy kind of star. So, but at the same time, when he tries to cry, you can't help but wonder if he's gonna start shouting, "This is Sparta" or something like that. But so, like I said, just watch it, because I think the film would get audiences divided. Those who think that Sam Children's method is wrong, that he doesn't set a good example by engaging the rebels in a war, and the means shouldn't justify the end. On the other hand, there'll be audiences who may not fully agree with Children's method, but they're not entirely disagreeing with him either, considering that is the only way for him to protect those children, and that the gunfight and the violence are the only language that those rebels understand. So I hope Machine Gun Preacher inspires people to help with the need in Africa. But as a film itself, it's not something that's going to be probably not going to be talked about during Oscar seasons. The next one is Moneyball. Yes, the movie had a rough beginning. A couple of years ago, Sony had disagreements with director Steven Soderbergh as to how to approach this story. So Soderbergh did not end up directing it. It was directed by Bennett Miller, who gave us Capote. So the story is about real-life general manager of Oakland A's, Billy Beane, and how he uses... go ahead. I'm sorry, you were going to say something? Oh, how he used statistics and numbers and calculation instead of gut feeling in order to acquire players for his team. And it's a method that was definitely not liked by the people in his corporation, the people he works with. So there's a lot of politics going on in the story, and what makes Moneyball attractive is the writing. Of course, because it's got rewrite by Aaron Sorkin. The great Aaron Sorkin rewrote the script. So he's the guy who we thank for The Social Network last year. And part of what I love about Moneyball is that it's a sort of like a gambling movie. The attractiveness of to see, oh man, this is so much risk he's taking in this new method, in this new statistic thing. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work out? People are against him. Well, what's he gonna do? Even he himself has doubts in it. So that it's a gambling thing, and you want to see how it turns out, and it's exciting to watch it. And that's what I love about Moneyball. Aside from great performances by Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jonah Hill proves that he can do comedy and drama just as strong. And I know a lot of people out there right now are hating Brad Pitt for his comment about Jennifer Aniston recently. But I gotta give I gotta tell you guys, you gotta give Moneyball a chance. Just like back in the spring, people are like, oh, I don't want to see The Beaver because it's got Mel Gibson. Dude, it was a great movie. So please give Moneyball a shot, because it's not a baseball movie. It's the business and the dealings behind it. The concept can apply to any sport. So it's a different kind of underdog sports movie. Even if you don't know statistics, even if you don't know the art of trading players, even if you don't know anything about baseball, Moneyball's themes of loyalty, believing in something even when the whole world is against you, those themes and so much more would resonate with you.
Well, let me ask you this without giving away too much. Would you compare it to Jerry Maguire, that kind of movie?
Yeah. Yes. That Jerry Maguire was also about the business and the dealings behind the sports. Yes, I agree. So it has that comparison. I felt like Moneyball was more calm in its execution of its dialogue. Brad Pitt also displays that silent rage emotion instead of show me the money. Not a lot of screaming, not a lot of exaggerated screaming in this movie. So just smart dialogues. Thanks to Aaron Sorkin and of course Steve Zalian, who drafted the first script before him. So I think that's the big difference between the two.
Okay, so the rating with the rating system we're going with, would this be a...
You gotta buy it. You gotta watch this. It's I think in my book, it's one of the best films of 2011, no doubt.
So it belongs up on your shelf next to Jerry Maguire.
Yes,
all the sports movies.
All the sports movies. It's the business behind it. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people probably, it was guys especially, like Jerry Maguire. They didn't want to go see Jerry Maguire because they thought it was just going to be some chick movie until you realize, hey, it's actually got football in it. So that's what drew them in. So this one, can you say the same thing? The baseball will draw them in?
Yes. don't expect Bull Durham. Don't expect, for the love of
Field
the
of
game.
Dreams.
What else? Yeah, Field of Dreams, because you don't get to see. There are moments of triumphs. They would show scenes of even archive footage of the baseball of the Oakland A's back in the day, in 2001 era. But it's not much about that. It's much about Billy Beane convincing everybody that this new method that you have to adapt to, it's gonna work out, and it's tough because they lose a lot of games. They lost a lot of games, because he has to deal with the coach who did not want to work with his method. He has to deal with the politics in his workplace that his teammates didn't want to believe him. He has to deal with the team itself who are not motivated to win, the Oakland A's. So he has to deal with a lot of these things, and that's at the heart of the movie, not necessarily the baseball itself. Yeah, exactly.
Did you get the Thor Blu-ray?
I did not get the chance to get Thor Blu-ray. I apologize. I did not get the chance to Blu-ray, but I will get it hopefully soon enough. I did not get the chance. Yeah.
Well, that's okay, because I got to be honest with you too. I didn't do my homework. I didn't watch X-Men First Class yet either.
Yeah, so we're all guilty then. Cool.
Yeah, so you'll get Thor. I'll get X-Men First Class.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other thing, everybody out there, we've all seen, especially a movie like Thor, like Transformers, even though it's not Rama's favorite, but everybody went to see it. When Rama reviews Blu-rays, we're not going to really review the movie because we've all seen it. We're going to review the extras. What's the picture quality, what it sounds like, and like I said, the commentary, the extras, all that stuff. I will say one thing about the Thor Blu-ray. I did get that one. Marvel is starting to do these. They call them one shots. They call it the Road to the Avengers in this case, and it has some of the actors that are from the movie, and it ties in some. In this one, it ties in something. Oh wait, for those of you that haven't gotten it yet.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, so if you haven't gotten to Thor Blu-ray yet, you might want to turn away right now. There's a little feature in. There's two actually. One called the Road to the Avengers. It's actually kind of a fluff piece. Doesn't really show you anything new. Not like the trailers. Not what you probably saw at D23. And not what's attached to the end of Captain America. There's just a fluff piece that says, it's an interview basically with Joss Whedon. There's another one, I forget what it's called, but it ties in what happened between the end of the Incredible Hulk movie, the one with Ed Norton, and Iron Man 2. Remember at the end of Iron Man 2, Tony Stark comes out to the general and tells him, he wants to join the Avengers and all that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they have a little scene in there, with Agent Coulson, and I forget his name right now.
Oh, Clark Gregg.
Yeah, Clark Gregg. He is quickly starting to be my favorite non-superhero character in all these Marvel movies because he's really good in this one. So that alone is good for that one thing. So that's about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's in a sweet spot in his career because he really doesn't have to do much, but he always gets a job. He always he's not unemployed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people out there trying to find gigs. All he does is just a few minutes of this, a few minutes of Thor, a few minutes appearance in Captain America, a few minutes appearance in here, and he gets paid. It's a sweet gig.
Yeah. So again, this Tuesday, quite honestly, I do have the list. It's mainly TV shows that are coming out on Blu-rays. Nothing really worth mentioning. No big movies. Friday, we already mentioned it. Rama's favorite, Transformers: Dark of the Moon. I think it's coming in 3D or the regular, however you guys want it. There you go. So
I think it's on VHS. Sorry, yeah. It only comes out on VHS, guys. My bad.
Yeah. So there you go. If you don't want to, I'll go and get it and watch it for you and review it next week. So, is Killer Elite, was that this weekend or next weekend?
That is this weekend. I'm about to watch it tomorrow after the press day of Real Steel. I can't wait because I think it looks real badass. I'm a big fan of Jason Statham all the way, man. Yeah, all the way. That guy, after the days of Arnold and Sly and Bruce, it's good to have Jason Statham that just sticks with action. He's always there for you, action fans.
Yeah, see, and you're becoming a professional already. That was a perfect segue to next week, Real Steel. Or actually, in a couple of weeks, Real Steel. See, I'm already thinking about October because it's my favorite month because of Halloween. But we'll have a.
I think it's next week.
Is it?
Oh no, a couple of weeks. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, a couple of weeks.
I don't even know what the date is.
I apologize.
Yeah. Well, whenever it is, you'll hear it here with Rama for sure. And again, on ramascreen.com, I'm assuming you're going to post up the interview once you do it.
I will.
Yeah, so be on the lookout
I
for
will.
that. Again, go to our link section. Ramascreen.com is on there. Like I said last week, he updates. It looks like by the 2nd. If you guys, though, however, I told you guys about this last week also. If you guys don't like set videos, be careful because he does have some on there. And they're exclusives, but some people don't like spoilers, so just giving you a fair warning.
Yes, good one. I love it.
So there you go. Again, both movies actually, according to Rama, buys. These have to be in your collection. So there you go. That's Rama's movie DVD review for this week. Next week, we'll do some more stuff. Be back here, and you'll find out what it is. Thanks again, Rama,
Excellent.
and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back. This is the show where you hear everything geek culture.
Rules. We don't think so.
This is the Geek Speak Radio Show.
All right, wrapping up on the Geek Speak Radio Show for this week. Had a lot of fun. Had a lot of interesting conversations. Thank you. Interesting conversations about the New 52, Spider-Man 2,
Miles Morales,
Peter Parker,
the death of him.
Thanks to everybody that came on and all of you. Again, almost afraid to ask, but go ahead and throw in some comments at the bottom if you're listening to our YouTube or Podomatic. You can put in some comments on there too. Or just send it to us, Henry or Romo at geekspeakradioshow.com. Don't inundate our emails.
I'm tired of hearing
time.
about Miles Morales and what you guys think. Let's move on.
Yeah, well, that's actually what I do want to hear, so you're going to get those anyway. But be intelligent about it. That's all we're saying. So before we get out of here, one last thing. Last week, I gave you all The Amazing, The Astounding, and The Unknown by Paul Malmo. That was my choice for the Geek Speak Radio Show Book Club. Again, go to geekspeakradioshow.com if you're already there listening to the podcast. Go upstairs to the little flag, what does he call it, the banner thing up there, where it says New Book Club. Click on there, and you can suggest your own books. Plus, you'll see the links to whatever books we choose. Today, since you're here, I'm going to give you the honor of picking a book.
It has to be Tony Pacitti. My best friend is a Wookiee. We've actually had him on the show last year when we were doing this. Go to the website, geekspeakradioshow.com. Click on there. It's all up there if you want to listen to him on our show.
Actually, no, it's not.
It's not?
You can find it on our YouTube.
Oh, all right.
I put him on the YouTube rather than... I made more space for new stuff on our website.
But yeah, I picked that one as being my favorite book for the book club. It's a really good book. I enjoyed it. I think every Star Wars fan can sympathize and relate to Tony Pacitti's experience with
And
Star
I got to say
Wars.
something about this book. This book is actually indirectly led to the creation of this book club, because last year, this is the book, you just couldn't put it, you literally could not put it down.
No, I couldn't.
And when you came here, the day we were doing the interview with Tony, you came in here that morning and said, I think I found my long lost brother.
Yeah, so it's one of those books that you can, once you start reading, you cannot let go.
Now, I would like to talk to Tony. Maybe we'll have him on again this time around. Only to ask, we'll talk about the book, but I want to ask him also, what does he think of the Blu-rays that just came out, especially Empire?
Yeah, because he does talk about that in the book as far as his first experience with, the Phantom of the Menace, but you could, we get all that
stuff.
Saying
the Phantom of the Menace. It's Phantom Menace.
Dude, I don't know why. It's something with me that just thinks that you have to say it that way. Probably because the movie sucks so bad that you just got to give it a different name.
It's still the same. It still has Jar Jar. You can't get rid of him.
But again, go to the website. You can listen to it. But it's one of those good books that you... I don't know. I would say why I picked it was because it just rocked, dude. I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan like me, dude, enough said.
Not only that, and again, you guys can hear it on the YouTube page, on the interviews on there. But last year when we had Tony on, you, not only with the Star Wars stuff, but with his personal story, you kind of
related with that first girlfriend or the breakup.
What did you say about the Corn Kids, or what was it?
He loved listening to, I think it was Korn, that band.
Well, no, he didn't love it. He was hanging around
some
people.
rocker. They call him, just like, it was one of those things where you can relate because at the time he was going to high school and it was his experience.
And you're trying to fit in like everybody does.
Yeah. But, I would love to have him back on the show to talk about the new, especially it's on DVD, it's on Blu-ray, but the new features they just added.
No! Okay, sorry. I have to do it.
right.
But yeah, that's Romo's pick. Then go to the GeekSpeakRadioShow.com book club page. You'll get a link to Tony Pacitti's book on there pretty soon. And again, you guys can not request, but you can suggest yours. It's sci-fi, fantasy, horror, any of those. No comic books, no graphic novels. You tried to sneak one in yesterday. What did you say?
No personal jinx.
No, you tried to put one in, not yesterday, but last week, a graphic novel. And I said, no, Romo, you actually have to have a book with pages and words written on them. So no graphic novels. We do talk graphic novels, but they won't be part of the book club. Although, quite honestly, and I think I mentioned it to somebody last year or somebody on the show that was on, when you go to libraries now, there are entire sections with graphic novels, with anime, with comic books, with all that. That's usually where all of us, thanks to this depression we're in, that's where all of us go to read the comic books now.
So pretty much Boulders just went out of business and moved to a library.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, good.
Boulders did go out of business, by the way, but they probably donated all the stuff to the library.
Nice.
But there you go. So again, that's the Geeks Who Get a Show book club. Tony Romo's choice is Tony Pacitti's My Best Friend is a Wookiee. Again, in a few minutes you will find a link if it's not already there. Damien, I'm looking at you. If it's not already there, you'll find a link to Tony's book. You can purchase it. You can hear Tony with us from last year on YouTube. What is it? YouTube/GeekSpeak Videos. That's where you will find the interviews. Put them all in one little cool little section for you. It says 2010 interviews. Duh. Guess what's in there? So there we go. That's the episode for this week. The New 52. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Still having a hard time saying that. I still want to call him Peter Parker, and he is, because it's still there in the Amazing. So next week, it's my favorite time of year. Halloween. Yes. October begins. And so we're going to do something not Halloween-y, but very, I guess it is Halloween-themed. So you're going to have to find out what that is next week. Till then, bye. I'll be back.
That's all for this week. The Geek Speak Radio Show will be back next week with a brand new episode. Till then, follow them on Twitter at GeekSpeakRadio1. Become a fan on Facebook or listen to past shows on YouTube/GeekSpeakVideos, Podomatic.com, or find them and subscribe on iTunes. Geek Speak Radio Show.